Action. So, what's up, guys? We are at episode 5 of the Skybunker podcast. We're with Sam and Odie. Today, we're going to be talking about probably collapsology. Some man's going to talk about Bitcoin.
I want to talk about the plea deal I had, the hot take I had on plea deals.
We want to start with that?
Yeah, we can start with
All
that.
right, go ahead. Let's start with it. Go ahead.
Okay, so this all stems from, I had some friends in college who were from, where are they from? They're from Iran. And they were talking about honor crimes and how in a lot of other cultures you can, part of what can mitigate your punishment if you commit a crime is like why you committed the crime. So the way he described it, and I looked into this later, and he's putting a very what would you say, like a flavorful, like he's being generous to this idea.
Yeah.
But the way he described it was like, look, if you're like in the country and like someone like raped your sister and you went and killed that motherfucker, you're probably not going to do any jail time because he raped your sister. If you can like prove that in court that like this guy committed this crime, and then you can use that as an excuse to get out of it. That's not 100% true.
Yeah.
A lot of the times it's much more used to, you know, be oppressive to certain groups and societies and that kind of, like it's just kind of an inconsistent thing.
Yeah.
But the idea of it was interesting to me, and I was watching John's. Who was I watching? No, I was watching a podcast on where they were talking about the plea deal system, how fucked up it is in the States, and how shitty the system is for people who get kind of accused of crimes, and how influenced you are to make a plea. And now I had the genius idea, is that what if we added a new plea, right? You could plead guilty, not guilty, or you could plead gigachad, right? If you, the idea for pleading gigachad would be, you said, yes, I did it, but I had justification for doing it. Does that make sense?
Does that make you gay, Chad?
Well, okay.
Does that make you gay, Chad?
I think it's, if like, let's say a situation arrived where someone threatened you, and you had.
I need to grab my phone.
It's all good. No, just keep talking. Just keep talking. It's a podcast.
If, let's say you had a situation where someone threatened you and then you responded by pulling out a gun, right? That's a crime. You can't threaten people with guns.
Yeah.
Right? If right now we have this like adversarial system where if you wanted to own up to the fact that you did something wrong, the best thing for you to do would be to first go to a lawyer and then get the lawyer to negotiate that plea deal for you.
Yeah.
And then the lawyer would probably tell you to don't admit to anything, and you can probably get off scot-free. But there's no way to say, kind of own up to shit you did that was wrong, that doesn't just immediately fuck you with the system. Like there's no, like if you plead guilty immediately, you're still gonna get it pretty bad. As opposed to if you it's better for you to not plead guilty, wait till you get a lawyer, deal with the lawyer, and have the lawyer kind of negotiate a plea deal for guilty.
Yeah. As
opposed to just the easiest thing and the most harmonious thing for society to do. Would be for him to just be like, you know what, I fucking did that shit.
It's it's almost like it'd even be better if I could expand on your point.
Yeah.
It's like if you could plead guilty, but then almost have like a jury that could basically say, okay, well he was guilty of the crime, yes, but it was justified. So let him go.
Not necessarily let him go, but like you can reduce the sentence significantly, right?
I feel like they sort of do that right now. I feel like if you do plead guilty, and I think that is generally the idea of the plea deal, but it is broken, 100%. The plea deal, plea deal system is broken, but I think that is the general idea. It's like yeah, you did do something fucked up, but like I understand why. We'll give you less, because I do understand like I think if you ask a lot of people who deal with the judicial system in Canada, at the very least, I can't talk about America, it is fairly fair. It gives you opportunities not to fuck up, right? Like, or at least it because we don't have mandatory minimums up here. Mm-hmm. We don't have like basically judges have the ability to completely jurisdict like.
Also, you can choose to have a judge look at your trial instead of a jury.
Exactly.
Which is a big thing in Canada.
Yeah.
They don't have in the States. Yeah.
But I feel like definitely in the States, there's definitely areas you get completely fucked with. But I feel like in Canada, they're like, from my experience anecdotally, not like I've been arrested or in these kind of scenarios, but like I know people, but essentially their sentences make sense. Like no one really gets, like they'll basically give precedent where it's a scenario where they could really fuck you. They can throw the book at you 100%. But it's like generally like justices have a good way of a journey in a way that like makes sense where like you get like, time that's fair.
So what I would say is because we still fundamentally have an adversarial system.
Yeah.
There's a situation that arrives where, you know, at the end of the day, a prosecutor is going to make a judgment call based on how much evidence they have on the case, and they're going to decide how good of a deal they're going to give out based on that. But if you immediately react, hey, what's going on?
Sorry, just security just wasn't there for a second. It's all good.
It's all good.
You're never there.
If you immediately react by owning up to the crime, there's no real benefit for you to do that.
Yeah.
Like the best thing for you to do is go to a lawyer, and you don't really get anything out of it.
Exactly.
And I think some people are doing that out of good faith.
Yeah.
They say, you know what, I fucked up, I did something wrong. Here's a cop at my door, telling, like, kind of explaining to me that they're like confronting me with the thing I did. It's a strange situation where it's better for you to just give this cop the run, like just be super adversarial, be super confrontational about it. Wait to get a lawyer later and get that lawyer to be like, hey, look, you don't have that much on him. Here's much. Whereas the guy who just immediately owns up to it, he gets no benefit for that.
Yeah, no.
You know what I mean? He all he does is he gives them more evidence, and then the prosecutor's gonna be like, well, I have all this evidence. Why would I give you a good plea deal, right? Because we have this kind of adversarial system. You know what I mean? So like, I think that you should have some option of saying like, it's not just, I guess, it's not just I did it, and I'm making the system, I'm making it easier on everyone by owning up on it. It's I did, and I immediately said yes, I did.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I didn't cause any problem whatsoever. I immediately owned up to the shit I did, and I didn't.
Gucci Mane at trial. Gucci Mane, how do you plead guilty? Do you plead guilty? How do you plead? Are you guilty? Bitch, I might be.
Yeah.
Did he say that in court? It was so bad.
He should have said I plead gigacheck, Your Honor.
Wait, two things.
What are you doing?
A, this is incredibly distracting. B, I'm not sure if you can put this on YouTube. This is IP that we're...
Yeah, okay, I'll spawn the fucking
background.
Yeah. He's running an aquarium and shit.
But you bring a very valid point. I think there's a lot of like... You know what? I was actually... Oh man, this is hilarious. What's your perception? Like, what is justice to you?
That's a good question.
Could you also, Adrian? Could you be an absolute gem, or someone pass me the whiskey because I'm gonna be degenerate right now and like my whiskey right here.
So
and the Coke, please. That's all. Sorry, I love you, bro.
Generally, I would be in the restorative justice kind of camp.
Elaborate.
Philosophically, so I think it's more about making what you did wrong right than punishing the person who did it wrong.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So like
retribution.
Yeah. It's more about restoration than retribution.
What if there's some wrongs just been great?
Yeah. That absolutely happens.
Yeah.
I think in general the principle should be we should try to reform people and not focus on punishing them.
I totally agree.
But obviously there's there's people who just go way off the radar, and those people need to be removed from society. But those are such extreme. Like those are actually very rare cases. Like those are very extreme cases. I think for the most part, people make mistakes, and we should, in some cases, remove them from society, and for a certain amount of time, still we can be assured as a whole that they can be re-entered to society safely. But we should try to do that. We should try to get them back into society.
Are there people we should just not have in society?
I think in practical terms, I think in like a descriptive sense, yes, there are those people exist. Right. I think in practical terms, I don't think the government should be making those kind of determinations.
That makes sense.
You know what I mean? Like I think in practical terms, it's really hard for a system like an administrative system to figure that out and to administer that. And so, I would generally be against, for example, the death penalty, just because it could go wrong. Is more, and then once it goes wrong, there's no coming back from that. If you kill an innocent man, if the state kills an innocent man, there's no turning around and bringing that motherfucker back to life and paying him out.
So in the French Revolution period, there were arguments from like Marquis de Condorcet, for example, that we don't want false positives, right? Mm-hmm. The risk of false positive is so present that it would be more unjust to kill an innocent person than to have a guilty person go free.
Innocent or proven guilty.
But even stronger than that, it's even stronger than that.
Because
you're killing someone.
Right?
Right? Because apparently in Japan it's guilty until proven innocent.
Well, they
You have
have
the Japanese court systems. Their prison system is way backwards. It's like if you didn't do it, you need to prove that you didn't do it. You need to prove who did. That's what their court system is. Their conviction rate is so fucking high in Japan. Dude.
It's also weird because they're investigating. They investigate while the trial goes on.
Yeah.
So they
I didn't know that.
Those
No,
both, yeah.
They have a toy different legal system there.
Yeah. It's on some next shit.
But they also have a lower crime rate in Japan too.
But also, is in Japan, like, I think context matters, right? Japan has, like, the Yakuza.
Mm-hmm.
No, they
do have
no, they have court there now. They don't have Yakuza. Don't run anything, man.
Really? No more?
Dude, the Yakuza have been depleted. They went from like 200,000 members down to like 6,000 because they're all so old that all the Yakuza are retired. They don't do shit at this point.
Oh, so like there's no like new Yakuza doing like cool shit.
In the 70s and 60s, it was pretty crazy. And then also before that was the samurai and shit like that. But then because that's all they really are.
So you know what? This actually brings me.
Katanas, cut people's heads off, cut people's fingers off. What the fuck? Just like I don't want to join this gang.
I think this is a good transition. I'm not sure if you guys have heard, but did you guys hear the new cartel?
Well, because El Chapo's in jail, his son's in jail.
Yo, so okay, to get this right, so the old so the U.S. There's certain agencies in the U.S. are actually working with the old cartel because the new cartel in Mexico is actually way worse. So the old cartel, their whole job is selling drugs. Right. So they try to keep everything calm, sell drugs, right? The new cartel, they just want to fuck shit up. It's straight up, they just about fucking shit up. So apparently there's a huge like gang war between both cartels right now in Mexico, plus the government, right? Like the military is fighting people, old cartels fighting people, new cartels fighting people. So apparently though the new cartel though is actually currently right now trying to fight the old cartel at the border because they're trying to break into the states. And they're saying like, well I don't know, this is like those this is like one guy, so they're saying like if the new cartel breaks in the states and like you know people are gonna start dying. You know,
Yeah, I mean, generally, I imagine the reason the old cartel is so much more cautious in the States, and when they operate in the States, when they operate in Mexico, is because they know if they do anything in the States or they do anything to America, like the fucking Marines come down, and that's like a whole other level of that's a whole other level of trouble.
This is the plot of the movie Traffic and Sicario 1 and 2. Is that like they essentially killed like you know the leader El Chapo or whatever, but then he was immediately replaced by like 3 faction gangs who were fighting for war, and then it caused even like dude, I met a guy at the party on New Year's. He's like oh I'm from Mexico. I said oh that's cool. Where are you from in Mexico? He's like I'm from Juarez. I said that's fucking crazy, bro. That's the most hardcore. That's the most hardcore place in Mexico to come from, man. Dude, and Juarez, dude, like they hang dudes off bridges and shit. It's the most hardcore cartel dominated city, and it's the most like it's fucking crazy. Okay, yo, let's segue in this right now, guys. I want to segue into some collapsology, collapse porn. Okay, so we're talking about End of the World. I'm reading Peter Zeihan's book right now, and he goes through a lot of actually the history of globalization and essentially how globalization has made us useless. Because what's happening right now is that because we can trade and we can get like specialized products from every country all over the world is now our town, and because of that, the average person is so shit at doing their own survival. The average person cannot create electricity, can't farm their own food, can't skin and kill animals, and we're not supposed to because we have to do other things like be neurosurgeons and shit like that, and like I don't know, like program microchips and everything like that. But he says
This is a Marxist argument.
He says no. He's not arguing in argument of Marx. But what he's saying is that essentially like what's going to happen is he says it's not that like there's going to be collapse. It's going to be an unraveling of all the globalized systems that support the current quality of life for first world countries, third world countries. He's like if the third world collapses, like it's like oh whatever we're in the because he's talking about how in the U.S., Argentina, countries like Turkey that are very self-sustaining, they have like enough like farmland resources and fertilizer to support themselves despite like a global apocalypse happening in other countries, right? He's saying that like what. America has it. Apparently, Turkey has it. Argentina's apparently self-sufficient. New Zealand.
Remember, Brazil's fucked.
Brazil's fucked because their land is not arable. They need to grow plants in Brazil. You need 3 times the amount of fertilizer than you do in the U.S., which makes everything.
That's why they do so many cows.
That's
why they're so high in the cow.
It makes it really hard to compete on the global marketplace when your food cost is that hard to produce, right?
But how are their asses so fat then?
Thanks, Odie. The aliens are coming for our bitches. Our bitches, bro.
Okay. So wait, what's just
Peter Zeihan's argument?
Yeah.
So he's essentially talking about how like everyone's like, will America be fine? And he's like, even if America's fine, they're farming their own food and have fertilizer and stuff like that. Like if the other like, let's say, like, out of 10 billion people, if the other 8 billion people are starving to death, don't have enough fertilizer, they're petrol states, they're getting a lot of their supplies and everything from the U.S. and stuff like that, and that, which is controlled by, and they're saying, he brought up another argument was that trade internationally is also supported through, like, military control. So, like, how does America control, like, most of the world? You secure key points around the world, Okinawa, Guam, places near Taiwan. You secure specific military strategic points. That way, America can have the most powerful navy in the world, which facilitates trade, peaceful trade. That way, we can. You know what he was saying? He's like, if you look at historically at how trade worked, when you have two villages, why were people building castles and shit? It's because when people were trading, they would fucking rob each other. Like, do you know how the Silk Road worked from China to the Middle East? The Silk Road it's not like a fucking highway where you get on the Silk Road and you drive through. There was no gas, there was no resources to do that, right? You didn't have fuel. What you'd have to do is you'd have to take your pepper and then you ship it like 50K to the next guy, and then he taxes it, and then he ships it 50, and you would do this like this chain of like 100 vendors, and by the time it gets to England, it's worth so much money. So how did England circumvent that? Get on the boats, get on the ships with huge ass cannons, and then ship all the stuff around it. Because when you ship, you can also carry your food with you, right? Because when you're shipping across the Silk Road, which is landlocked, you can't carry enough food with you. Right. But when you put it on a boat, we can put like cows and shit on the boat. We can have enough food to like supply the boat all the way around the world. I've been going into this book. This book is good, bro. I've been going into this book. It's a great book. Anyways, so he's saying is that
which book is this?
This is Peter Zeihan's like The World is Ending Tomorrow or some shit. It came out like 2 months ago, and people are saying that is this collapse porn because all these collapsologists are making money off selling these books that like that spill doom and gloom. But his data is, I think his data is accurate.
But the
data is undeniable.
What's the data say?
Microplastics. Reliance, like over-reliance on certain countries to produce petrol, to produce fertilizer, depopulation. He talks really heavily about demographics. Like the
depopulation.
Okay, so China right now, the replacement rate, they're saying, we have 100,000 more young people. That was that was fake data. China right now, the replacement rate is 1.2, which means that in 10 years,
that's a decline.
In 10 years, something like 50% of the population will be over 65, and less than 35 will be under the age of 5, which is not enough to replace anybody.
What about India?
India is currently replacing China. They're
going to be
there.
Yep.
They're going to be
India's going
to be. But we still have to replace systems and everything like that. And an aging population in China, that's like they're the world's manufacturer. The skilled labor required there to support agriculture manufacturing. Like all sorts of other things, clothing manufacturing, like this, all the fucking thing. China makes pharmaceutical drugs, bro. China makes everything.
Commerce migrates. I think India's primed to be the future superpower.
I
don't agree with that.
No. They have the population. And
it's not about population. You need more than population. They have so many poverty issues. They have medical issues.
Yeah.
They
have deworming kit issues, right? There's all kinds of nutritional issues they still haven't figured out. I'm not optimistic about India's ability to.
I think there's right now there's an incentive to get a lot of Indians on the internet because there's actually a good portion of India that's on the internet. I think when that happens. Education is going to skyrocket.
So that's fair. It's already happened in India. So India actually skipped their manufacturing phase. So China became the world's factory. India, through literacy and British colonization, they learned English. And what happened with India is that they became a really, really quick service sector provider for the world. They are the world's telecom. Phone support, tech support, IT support, more than fucking animation departments, more than China at this point in time because the English proficiency is higher, but they actually skipped the actual manufacturing product part, which is what China actually made most of their money on. India also has a lot of other issues.
It's also England, basically.
It is. It's colonized as well too. But India has other issues. There's a lot of structural issues.
So the problem is you're kind of building, you're taking a lot of individual problems and you're kind of claiming a general collapse out of it. But it seems a little vague to me.
Okay, so
can you say a bit more? I'm not sure following this out.
So Peter Zeihan's book, the hypothesis here is that we're going to have collapse due to depopulation. It's actually mostly depopulation, global warming, and other things too, like microplastics, and just lack of the distribution of specific things like fertilizer. He talks a lot about fertilizer.
I have a counterpoint for all of these.
Go ahead.
Okay, so what was the first one you said?
Depopulation.
I think India's gonna make up for that.
That's just one country, man.
Yeah, so like we have like fucking nearly 9 billion.
No, but there's many countries that are having demographic issues.
Yeah.
Okay.
Also, Africa is going to have
Thank you,
huge.
my guy.
increase in-
Thank you, thank
Africa's going to have a
But
huge.
the
Yeah, exactly.
population can come with conflict
Like,
too.
but yeah.
These are not.
And there's also
Okay.
industry supported. Like when America depopulates.
It's not about
yeah.
population; it's about sustainable population.
It's
educated
also
population.
about what the economies produce. Like when like America produces fucking everything.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
they depopulate. It's like
So I don't know if you agree with this, but I think the next sector of growth is actually going to be what was quote unquote called the developing world, or the quote unquote BRICS, right?
Yep.
I think what happened, the best thing is the stupidest fucking thing that fucking Biden did was essentially bifurcate the energy market and essentially make sure that the Asia Pacific has a centralized energy market that they now can distribute to the quote unquote developed world, right? So I actually do think, like, from a growth perspective, what they basically did, in my opinion, China was the only growth story globally before everything started going downhill, right? I think they have now access to the only resource-rich areas, which is a lot of African countries, a lot of South American countries too, as well too, that now are aligning with like either China or Russia or Iran, right? So I think what's happened now is that essentially the next segment of growth is going to be in the developing world with the BRICS, right, on the other side of the economy that we decided to push right away from.
Let me jump into that.
Yeah, go on.
Okay, so BRICS. Brazil does not have enough fertilizer to support its own population. India, China's depopulating. Russia's depopulating.
He's saying BRICS is funding BRICS is the funding source.
How can they fund the future when they're running out of people to work? How can they fund the future when they don't have the workforce to
BRICS
provide
already-
that?
They've already made the investments. Is I think part of the
Exactly. And
Okay, so
they're already in the game.
The pension in China is going to run out by 2050. They need 1.4 trillion a year to supply the pension. And they don't have the workforce is done.
Yeah.
How are we going to reproduce 500 million
they're going to
babies?
tax Africa. That's what they're going to do.
They're already mining in Africa. They're already mining in Africa right now.
No. I'm not happy about it, but that's literally what they're going to do. They're going to tax all the fucking like colonial states they have now. That's exactly what's going to happen.
They can do it, but it's still not enough money. Like how can you
It is
replace
enough money.
like when you have 6 billion people draining the pension supply for the planet? How do you fucking pay for that? Like how do you pay for that? How do they solve that problem?
I'm asking this like, actually practically,
Sure.
right? Do you know how many resource-rich countries China has made very advantageous?
I'm not denying that. I'm talking about the depopulation problem, man. Like who's gonna work? Where's the workforce to actually process all these minerals? It's not the labor in Africa. That's just one part. They have to bring it back to China, process it, turn it into chemicals, turn it into pharmaceutical products, silicone chips, and everything like that.
Import labor.
From where?
Africa.
They're gonna ship people from Africa into China to work as imported labor.
Yes.
300 million people.
It happens in Dubai. That's how Dubai got built.
Not 300 million people. Not 300, and also, and they're all the work conditions in Dubai are that's really bad. You do not want that to happen in China. That's a horrible, worst slave level conditions, bro.
No, I'm not saying this is good.
Yeah.
I'm not saying it's positive. I'm saying what's going to happen, right? I'm saying the UAE, Dubai, all of these places got built on slave labor. Where did they get it from? A lot of places in India, a lot of places in
the scale of that is so small. Building Dubai is like how many people live in Dubai? Like 4 or 5 million, 10, 5 million people. Do you know China is 1 billion people. A small town in China is 5 billion. I've been to bloodfuck towns in China that were 20 million people, and all they produce is like shoes. So the entire city, it's like it's just like coal town. It's shocking. It's a billion people, right?
I'm not saying it's not going to be dystopian. What I'm telling you is what's going to happen.
Yeah.
You know what I'm trying to say? Like, I'm not,
And also, I would say that if you look at how China developed its manufacturing sector, it happened in a fairly short order. Right?
China's bad at integrating immigrants. China has never integrated.
Well, no, I'm
China
saying
has never integrated.
I'm saying
immigrants. It's not like Canada where we can do that.
Well, there's a couple of things. One is automation could handle some of the weight there.
Japan's betting on that, but I don't think.
But the other aspect to consider is that if China was able to develop into the manufacturing sector of the world,
it already is.
Within they did that in like 20 years.
Yes.
So then probably other places can do it too.
So what's interesting about China? China right now is interesting because China has become the only country in the world to take everyone out of poverty in one generation and then also run out of money, put everyone in retirement, and then flip downwards.
Right.
He's like, if you, like that's what Peter Zion said. He's like, it's the only. It's actually remarkable. It took 1 billion people out of poverty in like the span of like 35, 40 years, and then like up to 2008 when everything was going great, and now it's flipping over where like everyone's going into fucking retirement. They have not people aren't having enough kids.
Adrian, you probably understand exactly how that happened.
What's
Well, I don't know if I understand exactly how that happened. Okay, well, there's a few things. I wonder if you could say Japan post 1945 is another example, right?
He brings up Japan quite a. He brings up Japan. He brings as the most
they have a
common
pension
example.
issue, they have over 280% debt to GDP ratio, right?
Yeah.
And they have pension issues. I mean, most elections in Japan are decided on who will save the pension fund.
Wait, isn't it? Doesn't one party win like 90% of the elections?
Okay, that's like decade or so. I think that's right. Yeah, but
Corrupt as fuck.
but with Shinzo Abe assassinated,
Isn't that crazy? Isn't that crazy? He's dead.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy. Yeah.
Some religious stuff. Nothing even political. Just like.
But though I guess my concern about China too is real estate, right? So Evergrande defaulting on bonds in 2021. I mean, they owed close to I think 300 billion in.
They're just
payments.
one of the lenders too.
Right, they're just one of the lenders. So I mean, you can see this was happening more a couple months ago. I haven't been keeping it more recently, but you get people concerned about their mortgages from banks saying. Their mortgages money's being tied up, but they're worried about default, so people are protesting. Well, we want our money back, right? This sort of thing. So I agree with Odie on their investment into African countries. You get countries like Niger, right? A country north of Nigeria. I read, according to The Economist, it's like 18-20% of their GDP. Niger?
Niger.
I believe that's how it's pronounced.
That's
exactly.
I'm fucking with you.
Adrian never mispronounces anything.
I'm pretty sure that's right. Don't get me wrong.
Adrian never mispronounces anything. He's like so.
But like, point being is like, I believe it's over like 18-20% of GDP is owed to China. So it's that high, the amount of debt, right? So you have double-digit debt. You have the largest Chinese military base outside of China. It's actually in Djibouti.
Yeah.
Right, just off the coast. Funny
name, by the way.
Near Yemen. Funny name, by the way. Near Yemen and all that. So I agree with you, but my concern is I'm not confident Xi Jinping's foreign policy will sustain itself if domestically there's a commercial real estate issues and there's also home real estate issues. So I think it's an open question. I'm not saying either way. I just think it's not that clear, given you have ghost cities too. You have cases where there's not enough people to live in the houses or apartments they've built. The COVID policy too, it's starting to unravel. In some good ways and some bad ways for the economy, but here.
It says water, okay, don't worry.
But I read as much as, I forget it was a 9% GDP contraction, like some incredible amount. I don't think that's quite right, but something like that. I was reading this morning in Al Jazeera. I was thinking, what's going on with China? Even 4 or 5 months ago, they, for the first time in like a decade plus, they didn't publish their GDP statistics.
Yeah, dude.
Because they're so embarrassed, right?
The bull run's done.
The bull run, I think, in China is potentially done.
That's my point.
Another thing too is
the other
also,
thing is the bull run was sustaining them politically. Right?
Okay, yeah,
Because
exactly. No, that's exactly right.
If I'm a raising middle class, right, and like normally when that happens, you start wanting more social liberties. But you know what? If my government's giving me like 10% raises every fucking year, I might be like, whatever. But if that goes away, then where's the argument for like putting up with this? You know, you're gonna start wanting freedoms and shit, right? Like
another concern too is I'm curious if you guys have read a bit about this. I've heard some Wall Street analysts say that China's very hard to invest in. As a foreign.
Yeah, obviously.
They have a controlled stock market.
You throw your money into a black box.
I mean, so that much is obvious.
Controls all the tech companies.
That much is obvious, but even that aside, it's also just it's not clear how much growth there can be.
It's like fucking your prostitute without a condom, pretty much. You know what I'm trying to say?
I don't know what you're saying, but okay.
Metaphors.
Okay, that's
you don't know where you're getting.
You don't know. Okay, you don't know what you're getting. Yeah,
you can be a good time where you're getting AIDS.
Yeah, right.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
So if you look at, I don't know if you guys know your ETFs, but the Golden Dragon ETF, PGJ, is the ticker on that. If you look at that, like you see, well, this used to be trading at $60, $70 a share. It's considered high if you're at $35, $36 a share now. It hit a bar maybe 20 something. So when I follow this, I think, well, that's also part of the demise of, demise is too strong, but like part of the issues that Alibaba's faced too, right? I mean, Jack Ma himself's been facing these issues. So, you know, there are obviously prominent Chinese companies, Tencent, etc., you name it, ByteDance. But it's more. I think it's challenging for foreigners to invest. So, but if that's the case, and if people don't look at the stock market, whether in Hong Kong or in China, it's not clear to me how investment is going to work kind of longer term, right? And domestically, I mean, obviously you can go very far. It's the largest country in the world, but I think all it takes is for them to fuck up their COVID policy, right? I mean, because they're getting millions of cases a day, increasing. Yeah.
It's the worst it's ever been.
It's the worst it's ever been. It's getting worse.
Well, honestly, the
hospitals are really starting to get quite full. Yeah.
Personally, I think the more this is just like I'm a sales guy. I am not a doctor, obviously, right? The more you lock down, in my opinion, it seems that the worse your fucking immune system reacts to it. Like the fact, because at the end of the day, you have to interact with people. You have to reopen from a lockdown. So it seems to me that like the more you actually like retract from the fact.
So why COVID in particular do you think would be able to do that? I mean, there's a lot of very.
I don't even think just COVID. I think even like in like the regular world, you're seeing after the holiday season. Everybody got sick, and I think it's because like we're getting reaccustomed.
Yeah, but that's a lot less deadly than COVID.
No, but that's what I'm trying to say. But it's like, but if you set a secularized system where you're all isolating, you're not training your immune systems.
Yeah.
You're all isolating yourselves.
Yeah.
So when you
vaccines first, right? So that one day
and then
part 2 doses.
Their vaccine, in particular, China's vaccine was not that effective.
It was not that effective. Yeah,
so that's part of
the issue.
Why wasn't their vaccine effective? Why did they not get the same shit?
It's a great question. I don't know. I mean, my take is there's a lot of Western universities producing good technology. You have Moderna. Moderna's literally located in Cambridge, Massachusetts, next to MIT and Harvard.
Is it because they made their own?
No, it's a.
I mean, like Russia made their own too, and it totally failed.
It's not mRNA.
The Russian vaccine failed.
It's not effective. It's like 70%.
It's a adeno base. It's not mRNA.
Yeah, it's the old school way.
It's old school.
Yeah, it's old school. So I think that's part of the issue too. And the thing is, there's a lot of reasons. So that's what I'm saying. I think the West has the best technology and the best healthcare scientists, right? Epidemiologists. But it's not surprising to me Pfizer and Moderna is the most effective. Moderna especially, they're very effective. So I think that's part of the issue too, right? We have to wonder. So that would be my response to the lockdown concern there. I think the lockdown made sense given they need to distribute vaccines prior. Ideally, they should have received other vaccines. I don't know enough about the economics of vaccine sales between China versus U.S., but
part of the problem with getting the mRNA vaccines is it's a lot of people. And to make those vaccines, you need like bespoke equipment.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Like you need like really like super high tech shit where you can like put the mRNA inside these like lipids, and that just doesn't exist.
Isn't it like gene therapy?
No, it's further down the line. So it's your genes, your DNA produces this shit, and then you will another part will take that and make proteins out of it. So you're making it post the DNA.
That's
not
the part.
DNA.
That's the part that I don't really like, and I get it again. Sales guy, right? Like I get the fact that messenger RNA, as so put of mRNA, right?
Yeah.
But you're putting in a new message into your, like.
It's post your DNA though. It's not pre. Like you're putting a message into the production facility. You're not putting it into the instructions.
But like that's what I'm trying to say. Is that's like, still not. For me, in terms of like understanding it, it doesn't make it any better, right? Because the idea of essentially adding new messages into how my DNA interacts in itself, when in my opinion, I don't think we really fully understand the human genome, our DNA.
Well, we've sequenced it for over 18 years now.
In academia, sure, but I'm saying in practice, it's a bit like scary. To diminish that.
I think that's intuition. I wouldn't be.
But you know, I'm not even going to touch on this because this is too much. I do this every time on the podcast.
Okay. Back to this collapsology shit. So how do we solve the problem of all these countries of this deep like other countries will produce other, but like. He's essentially saying the last 75 years of human history have been the richest, most profitable, golden years of human history, and the baby boomers were the baby boomers in the 1970s, man. The baby boomers, they're producing like 4 fucking kids a woman. We're down at 1.2, 1.5. He's just like and he said and he talks about
1.2 seems a little low.
And China and Korea are 1.2. Japan is like 1 point. It's fucking bad.
Right. Okay, I actually thought Korea was even lower. I think Korea's
it's
less
the lowest.
than
It's the lowest in the world.
Yeah,
it's the lowest. And you know what he says it is? He said, you know what he says it is, man. It's the effects of literally urbanization. He's just like people move to cities, people start getting jobs, like space. Your whole life becomes so expensive. You pretty much you can't afford your kids space wise, money wise, time wise. It becomes an inconvenience. You essentially get priced out of having kids, and then I'm not even just that, but the urban life provides you other things like we have like this sounds fucking crazy, but we don't need to have kids when you have like adult friends, you have communities. Like when I went to Berlin, dude, and like all the fucking people that were so old going to parties and clubs, like the average age when I went, it was like mid-30s, and in the gay community, guys in like their mid-40s partying. I'm just like, no one here has fucking kids. Everyone is just, if anyone here has a fucking kid, you're fucking nuts, because this lifestyle is crazy, and they just live like that forever. They just exist, and like, and it's just so like not the way it used to be on the farmstead when you would just have the babies and your kids would go out and fucking like know the corner. Who is showing up right now?
That's Angela. It's Angela.
Okay, tell Joe one more time, please.
Okay.
Or it could be a niche,
One
like
more
the
time,
guy
please.
from the co-working space.
Is the niche coming too?
Yeah, that I mentioned in the.
Yeah, you can show too if you want. Yeah, I think
He'll be in
on the
15
podcast.
minutes. Yeah, he'll be.
That's fine. Yeah.
He's just more just here to listen to. So
Well, yeah, that's what this podcast is. So, yeah, so depopulation. So, like, I think that is the most valid argument. I think microplastics is also another one, and then also, I'm not even trying to like doomsday right now. I'm just telling you, like, I've been reading these books recently, and like this guy, like, he's not a crackpot, it's just like the arguments are quite like, it's a pretty solid fucking argument.
Yeah, I mean,
it's a pretty solid. But at the same time, too, though, like,
I would say there's probably other periods in history when it seemed pretty tough,
mm-hmm.
And the problems seemed pretty insurmountable.
Definitely worse. They hit the plague at one point.
Yeah.
They hit the fucking plague at one
And
point.
generally, like, I think part of it is just going to be, probably people are going to not retire when they expect to retire, and they're going to work probably older, and that's also probably going to shorten their life.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And so you're going to get it from both ends.
Yeah.
Reduction, you're going to get more work out of them, and then they're not going to live as long into retirement. And then probably automation's going to pick up a bit of the slack, and then once you're past the kind of boom, then it's not as much of a problem because it's not so much you don't have a small population supporting a large elder population anymore. It's less people, but they're producing stuff for less people, so they don't have to produce as much stuff.
So what he was saying when that occurs, he says that when all the baby boomers die off, and we just don't have like the workforce to sustain.
Well, it's not just
This is
like
the West Tower, right?
you're talking about.
This is the West or East Tower?
East Tower. Yeah. What?
Well, in the West, the baby boomers are going to die off pretty soon, but in China, it sounds like that's going to be a much longer, more extended process.
No, it's the same time period because the baby boomers, the generation baby boomers, it's the same as our parents, right?
Oh yeah.
So it's happening now. They're saying by 2050, China will have. They essentially put they said that they might borderline run out of money in the pension system to support the old people because there'll be too many retired people in China. They say China right now has the fastest aging population in the entire world, faster than Japan.
Right.
Yeah, so it's the largest, fastest aging, and that's the problem. And we could have people in like Nigeria's gonna hit 1 billion people by 2100. So and we'll have other countries populate the planet, but like it's still it's not enough. Like they can't, and even with all the people populating
not enough. What do you mean by not enough? Like not enough to support.
It's not enough economic productivity and output to replace all the industries as well. Because you can have people making babies, but to have educated, skilled workers producing all these microchips, producing cars, like China's the world's manufacturing center. Amazon, that's all fucking all this shit's made in China. Like to have also so he's essentially saying like if you want to take the long view in terms of human civilization is a really crazy ride, man. Like dude, we were like ancient Egypt. The Mayans, like all these amazing civilizations that like built these enormous. The Egyptians, you know the Roman Empire was only 500 years? Mm-hmm. You know how long the Egyptian Empire was? It's like 3,000 years, bro. Yeah. It's fucking crazy. It's like 6 times the length of the Roman Empire, and they didn't have
to the ancient Greeks is the ancient Greeks to the ancient Egyptian civilization. Like they looked at the ancient Egyptian civilization like we look at the Greeks. Like it was that long ago to them.
Oh my god! You know what I
mean? To them, it was so long ago for them. It was like
what's crazy? If you think about it though, like the Chinese government is the Roman Empire if it never fell down.
Why do you say that?
Yeah.
What's the analogy?
It's been around for 3,000 fucking years.
Oh, I see what you mean. Yeah,
come on in. Come on, open the door.
Angela, come on. Hold on.
Hello.
Hi. I was ready.
What's up?
Welcome to the podcast. Camera's on.
Yeah, what's up?
Camera's on. Hi.
Yeah.
What's up, everybody? Hello.
How you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
This is hilarious. I'm good.
What's
up, buddy?
This is my dog. I didn't want to leave him alone for like 4 hours.
No, it's cool. You were the dog. It's fine.
So we were at the dog.
There's some furry animals in the building.
Yeah, he's thick.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's a thick dude. For a French bulldog, especially, like he's quite large.
Yeah, it's in numerology right
No,
now.
but like he's like
So
muscular.
this audiobook is 15 hours long, but
Yeah.
I'm an hour, like
Yeah,
2.5.
he's not
And I'm
fat.
already like
Yeah, no, this is like a.
He is
honestly, bro, like it's the craziest book I think I've read so far. In the last 5 years, all the other books I've read.
I think it's a problem, but I just think like
And I'm like, I don't want.
I'm not saying humans are going to go extinct, but what he's saying is that it's going to be the unraveling of the current globalized economy we're in, because the countries producing this current quality of life, these products, are not going to have the workforce to produce similar products
But
anymore.
that change has always been
Like
caused in most
getting dressed.
civilizations. Like
Yeah, I'm not doing that.
I don't expect China to remain the
Getting
manufacturing
dressed and
center. It probably
undressed,
will
and when you
move
have
to
a
places
dog
where
on
there are
top
people.
of it, it's just like.
Yeah,
Or they'll
By the
automate,
end of it,
which
I'm
is another
heavy
option.
breathing. I'm like,
yeah,
oh,
yeah,
okay.
change is inevitable right now. What he's essentially saying is that like he thinks that
Don't.
the next
I wouldn't
generation.
pick him up.
Yeah, I know, okay.
I mean, you can if you want, but I wouldn't. He's very awkward to lift, and then he's squirmy, and he's top heavy, and if you drop him on his face, he's gonna be really mad. Yeah, he's gonna do this for a little while.
Okay. Once he gets acclimatized to the system.
Yeah, I mean, if he does, we'll see.
Yo, that dog is thick.
Yeah, he's cool. He's really cool. Go say hi to everybody.
Anyhow,
We can change the topic now. we were just talking about the end of the world and shit like that.
Oh, the end of the world.
Harvey totally changed it up. What's up, buddy?
Yeah, that's the reason I bought Harvey, so I didn't have to focus on the end of the world anymore.
Hi. Oh my god.
The End of the World was actually a super funny movie with Michael Cera was in it, and he played this huge fucking dickhead character.
Yeah.
And it was actually a very good like shift for him from the regular like geeky kind of dude that he plays. He was just like this. He was a super dick.
It took me a long time to really understand.
You can sit right here. You want
Okay.
you want like beer,
Yo,
water,
okay,
wine?
so,
I have
sorry,
beer,
sorry.
I brought.
My bad. I did an absolutely terrible introduction. Okay, so.
Yeah. Well, I mean,
Yo, my
the
bad.
dog is very distracting. I'm Ange.
Okay, yeah, this is Angela. Angela, yo.
Nice to meet you.
Eric?
Welcome to my place.
Angela's great.
Your place?
Yeah.
Adrian.
Adrian, nice to meet you.
Yeah.
Sam.
Sam.
Nice to meet
Okay, cool. So I didn't realize that like this whole area opens up. Is that like Queen West sitting out there?
That's
Yes.
that's facing east, and then Queen Street's this
Whoa,
way.
hey there. What's
Wait,
going
wow.
on? Chilton for me.
So, but when I walk into the north side of your building, I'm looking
Oh,
at
he looks deranged.
that whole like arcade and shit on the north side entrance because like I couldn't enter from the Lister Street.
Oh yeah, it's on the north side of
Yeah.
Yeah.
Am I looking at Queen then when I left?
No, you're,
That's a pretty nice view.
you can go on the balcony and take it out if you want. Yeah, it's a great view.
Pretty nice
East facing view.
Yeah, because you're very west side.
Ooh, here we go. No doggy.
Yeah. Anyhow, yeah, so Angela's a very prolific like yoga instructor.
Let's talk about yoga.
We don't need to talk about yoga. I mean, we could.
Have you done any like have you done any like wellness retreat type stuff?
I have.
What's it like?
Come on in. Come on in.
I've done like a yoga retreat. I mean, I guess wellness retreat at the same time. You're not you're not intoxicating yourself while you're there.
No, it's not ayahuasca.
I mean, no. I mean, I wouldn't even consider that all intoxicating yourself. You're just not like getting drunk and stoned like you normally do. You know.
True
It's not a vacation.
It's a different kind of vacation.
Yeah.
And it's actually one of those ones that you get home from and you're like, oh, I don't need another vacation, which is amazing. But yeah, I've done it. It's interesting. I like it.
I did a suicide trip.
You did a what?
It is like a mushroom trip.
Oh, I did that actually with my friend Eddie.
Yeah? How was
I mean,
that?
like, it was cool. I've definitely done them recreationally. But that was like, it was a cool thing because it was like his first like pilot one before he really, really got into it. So it was just like friends. So we all like sat in room tensions and stuff before we did it. And then we went into these, you basically like lay there, right? And trip the fuck out, whatever. But all his friends were in this one room and he was dating one of my best friends from university. So it was just like me and him in like their bed.
Do you have a drink?
I got a drink.
Okay.
Yeah. Thank you. And like there were moments where like there was so much joy. There were moments where like you were going through a heartbreak and because Nate was there beside me and he's one of my best friends, he would like see me going through the heartbreak and like hug around me. It was like the most I don't know. Mind blowing. I don't. It's hard to put it into words because it actually limits what it was. It was an experience. Anyway.
His dog is so hyper.
Yeah, he is.
It's breathing so. It's breathing so fast.
He's a very like alpha dog too. Like if
So
you don't
hyper.
put him in his place, he will.
Is that his heart rate? Is breathing so fast? Is that his resting heart rate? Is this high?
No. His resting heart rate is lazy. He's not really not.
He's that dog is so alert, dude.
Yeah, I love it.
Oh, for a second I was like, is that my baby pen? Can I vape in here?
100%.
Yeah, sure.
Okay, cool.
You smoke weed or you want whatever.
Yes, I definitely do that too.
Hey, buddy. Hey, buddy.
Yeah, that I'm not gonna do. I'm too old for that shit.
Yeah, come on. Anyhow,
There's absolutely no way. I haven't done that since like at least my 20s. At least my 20s, and that was like 8 years ago.
Whoa.
Yeah.
It's alright.
The greatest thing about everyone in this room is that I met all you guys strictly from Toronto.
Yeah, man. Me and Sam, we grew up here, bro. Went to primary school together. Went to primary school together, man.
Oh, what you doing? But always not in shit.
I did not grow up. That's not surprising.
That's
It's
fine,
a bowl in a
whatever.
china shop.
Whatever.
I did not grow up here. I've been here 11 years though.
Just 1 second.
Yeah, let me go over here. Yeah.
Where'd you grow up?
Yeah.
Like a small town outside of Toronto. It's like still southwestern Ontario. It's called Port Dover. Actually, it's Friday the
You see a
13th.
small town.
It's Friday the 13th. They have this huge, like, all the bikers will, like, go into this little port town and, like, totally fucking take over on Friday the 13th.
You tried to make Port Dover seem like some mystery town.
Is it not?
Yeah, you're like.
I never heard of Port.
I've heard of it
Port
before.
Dover?
I've
No.
never been there though. Yeah.
Port Dover is like south. It's like it's pretty much Toronto, but like west.
Way further west and way further south.
Yeah, no, it's
By, like, 45 minutes to an hour at least.
I'm not saying like hold on. Sorry, I gotta take this. Yellow.
No, stop. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay,
I was like, I'm not leaving my house.
What made you want to come to Toronto?
Okay, let me.
Oh.
Okay.
I went to school in London, so I went to Western.
Maybe I'm
And
gonna
a lot of the friends that I met there moved to
Was it?
Toronto when I came.
That was somebody else.
Before I came, I did a couple victory
sorry.
laps.
Right.
Couple. Double majored because of it. So
Yeah,
like, I
it's
did
all
an
your
English and I
therapist.
did a science.
That's cool.
Yeah.
And then they
Yeah, a bunch of
all
people pulling up
moved here
today.
and they were working here in like entry level jobs. And I got a job with Sick Kids.
Oh wow.
Yeah, so
Oh,
I moved here for that. And to like be close to my friends. Also, like Toronto was kind of the next step. Like I grew up small town, but I never felt small town.
Which town are you from?
Port Dover.
I have some friends from there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Small town Port Dover.
It is a small town.
Smaller.
It's
Get out
so
of here,
fucking
bro.
small.
Mississauga.
It's smaller than that. It's way smaller than that.
What was it like working at Sick Kids? Working in a hospital in general is kind of intense.
I wasn't working in the hospital. I was working in the research building.
Oh, that's great. Okay.
So like you're not bedside, which I would feel would probably be pretty intense.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, bedside would be super, super, super fucking intense.
Mhm.
Research side, I mean, like, I guess you feel the good you're doing. You don't really see the bedside effect of that. But like, I don't know, research is underfunded, overworked, undervalued.
What type of research were you doing?
A bunch. I was an operations manager of a zebrafish.
Holy shit.
It's funny.
Of the
So,
fish? The
yeah,
research-
it's a research organism.
What were you researching the fish?
Not the fish per se,
Just
but
testing stuff on
because
the fish,
testing
yeah.
stuff on the fish because the fish is a vertebrate, it's got a
Yeah,
spine.
what were you testing out of curiosity?
Scoliosis was
Oh.
one. That was the major one because, like, traditionally, historically, not traditionally, I don't know. It was done on like a rodent, right, which has a way different load on its spine. Rodents sit on all
Okay.
fours, so it's a
Yeah.
horizontal versus
Yeah.
vertical.
Yeah.
So like you would have to actually like cut the limbs, the hind limbs,
Oh my god.
off a rodent and raise its water source until it sat
Oh.
upright.
Is this what they do to rodents?
To test, that was traditionally the model, but because the fish has to swim into water, it's kind of like gravity,
Whoa.
pushing back on the spine, so it's a way more ethical
Yeah.
model for sure.
Do you have like
Test-
do you have a biology degree? You have a
I have a
medical degree?
biochemistry degree.
Okay, I was
I
gonna
don't
say-
have a master's degree now.
Okay, I was about to say shit. This
No.
is like hardcore. It's like real
No,
science.
I have a double major
Okay.
and from there, I did the Sickens thing. I was there for like 10 years.
Wow.
That's awesome.
Yeah,
That's
it is
That's
until you're like, I've been here for 10 years,
Okay.
I've gotten one raise, and I'm still
Oh,
making
jeez.
65 grand a year.
Oh.
I should probably make. You might have to bleep out the actual organization that I worked for when we actually
Treat it
go
like
through
we're
this.
live right now. Yeah.
You're live?
No, but treat it like we're live.
Holy shit! I was like,
So
okay,
treat it
no.
like
He
we're
doesn't want
live.
to edit his
I was like,
Treat it like we're
I
live.
definitely don't want to lose.
It'll be fun. We're not famous anymore.
Yeah, you're making like very low income to do a lot of work.
Yeah, sure, yeah.
And so yeah, I started teaching yoga. Well, I started doing yoga because I was like, this is a stressful job. I started doing that, and I was like very naturally inclined toward it because I was doing this. And then I decided to teacher train to supplement my shitty income. And so I started teaching yoga to supplement my shitty income, and then I got in a shitload of trouble because I was teaching yoga on my lunch breaks, even though they were unpaid. I was like, that doesn't make any sense. I should be able to do whatever I want. They were like, but it takes 75 minutes instead of 60. I was like, I work 15 minutes extra at the end of the day. This makes no sense. My job is being done. And so eventually I left. Because yeah, it's rewarding but still full threat. And I don't think I was ever meant to be in one spot for like
I like Dr.
8 hours a day.
Yeah.
Hello.
One spot for 8 hours.
Yeah,
I
sorry.
remember seeing this already.
Not okay for
Yeah,
me.
this is
Should we just like pause this camera and just like party for a
I'll go
bit?
to the gym.
Yeah, sure. We
Up
can
to you
do
guys,
people,
so
yeah.
whatever.
How you doing? Should we just pause this camera and like party for a bit, or like do you want to keep filming?
Yeah,
Because we're filming.
Yeah,
It's
let's
gotta-
just- yeah,
let's just turn up for a bit. Fuck it. Ready? 3, 2, 1, action.
It's turning to
Oh,
on.
it's turning on. Oh,
Okay, camera on. You were live.
Funny for a while.
I thought it was on. Yeah,
I
yeah,
sensed
yeah.
everyone was like,
What the fuck?
It would have been great if it was on.
Yeah.
Okay, so we're first talking about like just growing up. It's just like I remember when I was in high school. I was like, man, I can't wait till I'm older. I'm gonna have all this free time and shit like that. And like when I was 17, I worked at a hedge fund, and there was this guy there who was like 30, and I went up to him, and I'm just like, dude, what's it like to like be out of school and you got money and shit like that, and like you have free time, and like when work's over, you can just go hang out and chill. And he's just like, honestly, bro, you work so goddamn hard for this money, man, that like you're not gonna want to spend it. You're gonna want to like save and stuff like that because adult life is like stressful and expensive, and like you're not gonna want to like. He's like, I know you're in high school and you want to go out and like blow your money and have fun, but like when you become an adult, it's not like that. And I'm just like, dude, that sounds so depressing, man. Like, fuck, man, like what's the point of me like grinding my ass and like getting older and at the same time too though, like my life, because I'm probably the same age as he is now. Well, when I spoke to him, that like my life is probably more fun than his life was at that moment. But no, adult life is like. What did you guys think adult life would be like by the time you got older? Like from like high school until like your late 20s, like I don't know what you guys are, but late 20s to 30s, and like adult life, like fully adult life. Out of school, you're working.
I don't know if I was living
Yeah.
my adult life in my late 20s or like 30s. Like I'm like 38.
I got kicked out of my house at 18, so
So how do you feel?
I've been an adult for a minute.
Good.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, I moved out of my house.
Generally,
like,
how did you
18
feel
into the whole
like when you
university
like
thing.
at that age? How did you feel it would be different when you were like 30? Is a more general form.
Honestly, I feel like capital is the biggest difference.
Yeah, access to
Access to capital is the biggest difference.
That's right.
Well,
Budget.
because it also completely changes your lifestyle. It's also like how am I accessing my capital? Like that was the biggest difference. Because like back then, like when I was younger, you have no opportunity to shit. You're fucked, right? So it's like you're just doing the most bullshit shit to make money.
Mm-hmm.
But now it's like a lot easier to make money because you have a better understanding of like how to do it. But it's also like at a later age in life, it's easier for you to gain respect, right? But I would say that's the biggest difference.
Yo, like,
Honestly, yeah.
I was talking to like one of the older guy at work, and because when I'm 17, when you're 17, all you really want to do is like not be doing your schoolwork, have time off, be able to sleep in, and like at that point in time, we were playing a lot of LAN parties. We were in high school, right? It's like, yo, like I would just love to like I said to the guy I was 17, I was like, man, I would just love to like have a car and like put my computer in the car and like drive to my friend's house and like have a LAN party and like hang out. And like and shit,
I don't even know what that is. How old am I?
I would like to be. I
What the fuck is a LAN party?
I would like to be set. When you bring a computer to your friends, also play video games. But I would like to be. I wanted to be 17 with like a grown man's ass income.
I was before Wi-Fi. I was before the internet, though.
Yeah.
You're not before the internet.
No, you're
Before.
not. You're not that much older. You're not.
Cusp of the
You're
internet.
not that much older. You're not that much older than me at least.
Yeah.
Cusp of the internet. Dial up.
Yeah. Anyways, yeah. So
No, wait, no.
What?
But elaborate on that. Like, so how did you find the internet? How did you?
How do I find the internet generation?
Yeah.
I know.
Are people
because
still
I'm part
showing
of
up?
it.
Yeah,
I'm part of it.
Niche is
Holy
probably
shit.
Definitely
Okay.
part of it.
Tell me to hit it one more time.
What was your first interaction with the internet?
Oh my god. ICQ?
Oh, damn, I only know rumors of that.
Lore.
You heard it being
Yeah.
There was a historic.
Yeah.
ICQ was before everything.
It was like
It's like
before
World
MSN
War
Messenger. Do you remember MSN Messenger?
I was on a messenger.
Okay. It
I
was,
was a menace.
it was before that.
Yeah, I was
It was
terrible.
before that. And then like you'd be on ICQ and your parents would pick up the phone and be like, Dad! I'm
Yeah.
on ICQ!
I remember that. I remember that.
Disconnected.
Yeah.
You, I don't know. I was when the internet was introduced in the house. It was either the cell phone, the landline, or
Yeah.
the internet.
Yeah,
There
it
was
had
no
to be
cell
one or the
phone
other,
at
exactly.
the time.
No, there was no
That's
cell
what
phone.
I
I don't think I had a cell phone.
Well, I don't know if it's
in
an
university.
issue. He's not responding.
I got my first cell phone in the 7th grade because my parents had no idea how to find me.
Well, I mean, that makes sense.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
Yeah. They're like, we just.
I got mine in third year university, which would have been like 06.
Oh, yeah.
Who
06, I got my first one.
who buzzed it? Was that a niche? Who buzzed the door?
I don't know actually, because he's not responding.
Might have been him. My other
That's
friend.
what
I think I started with Nokias, and then I got the
Maybe he's
Razor,
talking
then I
to
got the
someone.
pink
I don't know.
Razor.
It was like
Pink
we
Razor
picture the bear with
Motorola.
that. We really
Yeah.
Is it a
Big
phone you mentioned?
Yeah, and then it was
Yeah,
the
let's see if
BlackBerry
it shows
for
up.
BBM.
Isn't it
For a
sad
long
that
time.
isn't it sad that BlackBerry didn't turn into a thing?
Sad for them.
Because if there was a period of time where BlackBerry was the shit.
It was also like one of the only, I think, networks that worked during 9/11.
Oh,
seriously?
yeah.
Yeah,
that's
I'm pretty
right,
sure it's one of the only networks
That's
that worked during
interesting.
9/11,
Yeah,
which
did-
is interesting.
They had the first touchscreen too. Do they not?
I don't
They
know.
might
I have
have,
no idea.
but it was that weird like slidey
It's
phone.
probably-
Yeah,
it's probably
it's
a
a
niche.
ta- you
Yeah, it
press-
was weird.
It's a press the screen.
It was
You just
weird.
press it. But yeah. But like that, they had a, like, you know what's crazy? It's a Canadian company. That's why I was proud.
Yeah.
But they got destroyed because like they're Canadian too.
Yeah. Also, they like
Yeah, I had
they didn't
one.
keep up with the times. Like there was not a good enough phone for them to actually.
It's hard.
Keep going.
It's hard when you like because you're competing with like iPhone or Apple.
Yeah,
right?
I'd agree. Or any
And
other
they're-
Samsung out
They're
there.
being subsidized, and they're also being given contracts by like the NSA and the CIA and all this shit. You know what I mean? Like,
Right.
Yeah,
They've got much bigger
interesting, I
countries
agree.
giving them
Yeah,
big
yeah,
contracts.
yeah,
Interesting,
And
I
it can't,
agree.
if you're in
You
Canada,
just like
can't get
you
that
notice,
contract
you're
that
like
huge.
agree to all terms.
This-
Yes,
yeah,
yes, yes,
exactly,
yes,
yeah,
yes,
yeah.
yes, yes,
we can just pull all your information, no problem, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, fair.
Cool.
Fair, I agree with that. Oh, nice, Harv.
That was your dog?
Yeah.
Jesus Christ! I thought that was Eric.
Yeah.
Oh my God! Yo, holy fuck!
No, that was my dog.
Yo, he's a unit, by the way.
Yeah, he's awesome.
Yeah, come here, buddy.
He's awesome. I'm so glad I brought him.
Hey, you.
He's so happy I brought him. Like, he would have been so
Yes,
sad.
yes.
He's like,
Yeah.
"You gonna pet me? Are you
Yeah,
gonna
he-
pet me?"
that's his
If
MO.
security's there.
That's
if
his
not,
MO.
then
He's just like, and like, why would I not allow him to have that? As a dog owner.
Oh, yo, hey man,
What's
you're
What's up,
right.
bro?
Can I pet
Hey,
your
Nish,
dog?
how you doing, bro?
You look a little bit.
Welcome to the spot.
Hey man, welcome.
I'm gonna be like,
Oh, it's like trippy.
Yeah, the cameras are on right now, so
An issue, in which case
it's all good. You can say whatever you want. It's
I guess we have one more chair.
I'll get one more chair. It's all good.
With this white one, this white chair.
No, I got more chairs. Don't worry. I got chairs for days.
How you doing, bud?
Nice.
You good?
She always looks concerned.
No, you
Those are
just
nice folding chairs there.
Yeah,
Normally folding chairs.
Eyes,
Are,
like,
yeah.
okay.
Chairs.
It's got like human eyes almost.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah,
those
yeah.
bulldogs almost have human eyes. It's weird.
See, the thing about like raising
How you doing,
like,
bro?
a dog is that like, it's actually like
Welcome to the Skybunker podcast.
It's
It's a toddler that never grows up.
yeah, exactly.
okay, you take deep.
Like he's gonna be this age
Fucking
forever.
gross.
He's never gonna mentally be able to take care of himself.
Children
Children will eventually.
Yeah,
We hope.
He's 3? How old?
He's all no. He's all.
Yo,
he's
good to
only
see you,
about
man.
2.5.
Cheers. How's you doing?
They get like dogs get much better. Like the older they get.
Hey.
Oh no, and I mean like he's a great 2.5-year-old.
No, he's amazing. But like,
Are you scared dogs? He's
It's all good. It's all
a nice
good.
guy.
Yeah.
He's a nice guy.
He's like, "Don't be scared of me."
His face is so funny.
I
Really
mean,
trying hard to get our
he
attention.
always knows
You
the
know what's
people that
funny
are
though?
scared of dogs.
He
Are you
smells
here?
fear.
Hey,
That's
get over here.
Sometimes you just don't know. What's going on.
Sit down. You leave that man alone.
Why? What did I do?
He's like, nah. He's like, nah.
so cute.
He's like, I do what I want. I'm a menace.
So in terms of this podcast, this is why you buy dogs.
Yeah. Yeah.
My roommate bought a husky. I have to leave that place literally. Yeah, husky is way too much. He's way too active.
Harvey!
Yeah, he's still better.
Harvey! Chill.
He's nice.
Yeah, he's nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's really nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, husky, they attack you and their eyes are so fearful.
It's a bigger dog
It's a
too,
bigger
right?
dog
It's
too,
a
yeah.
bigger dog, so that would be a little scarier.
So
This guy though, he loves kids and he'll run up at kids
Yeah.
and kids are on the same
Yeah.
size as you.
Yeah.
Bowl them over, he makes them start crying. I had to write a I'm sorry
Yeah.
note to my neighbors. He ran off the elevator and attacked their. He didn't attack their children. He wanted to be petted by their children, but he knocked them over and they started screaming and crying.
Oh no.
And I was like, no, don't eat my dog. He's so nice. So I wrote them an I'm sorry card and took them up for ice cream on Harvey.
Oh my god.
if
I think I wrote, I'm sorry I was so rough, but are you half on the card?
That's good.
That's
That's good.
hilarious.
That's cute. I like that.
If I were
Olivia, to be
They
honest.
see him now and they're a little apprehensive, but they're like, hi Harvey.
no,
No, I live near
honestly,
Union Station.
he's a very happy dog. But if I were to make a football team,
You live by
he'd be a
yourself.
middle
That's me,
linebacker.
man.
Oh yeah, he's the defense.
100%.
He's
Yeah.
defensive for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I have to ask, what are you playing on the television? Because I love it.
Aquarium.
I love an aquarium channel.
It's copyright-free imagery.
Sorry?
Some 4K aquarium footage.
Copyright-free imagery. Yeah, that's
Is it cable
important.
or you're running with what you
YouTube.
YouTube? It's actually really good.
I wish they had I wish cable had a channel, Firefish channel, and then
The fish channel?
YouTube is the new TV.
Yeah.
I love cable, so I was like,
Okay.
I don't have
See,
cable either.
I don't know if I can shift that way. In terms of we're talking internet generation. I don't know if I can't be a YouTube watcher.
Oh yeah.
Do you not like YouTube?
I don't use YouTube. I don't know if I don't like it.
I watch
just
YouTube.
don't use it.
I watch YouTube 16 hours a day for the last
Like
month.
Yeah.
I do Netflix.
I have YouTube running 24 hours a day, honestly, while I work.
So you-
yeah.
But
Yeah.
it's for an intention of watching a show. It's not. I don't know. I don't just explore that side.
I watch YouTube for news. I watch criticism. I
Wait.
watch cooking channels. I watch fish
So-
channels.
so wait,
I watch documentaries. I watch music videos. I watch rap
I watch
criticism.
documentaries. I just watch them on
Yeah.
Netflix.
No, I watch Netflix too. Netflix is good. Netflix it's more polished. But if you want if you want the raw prison
I don't.
documentary stuff.
The paradox of choice is already too extreme on Netflix
Yeah, that is
and
true.
on Crave.
Yeah.
I'm overwhelmed.
It's like
by
you
the amount of
literally will be
decisions.
overwhelmed and it will hook you.
Yeah,
So,
it's an overwhelming amount of underwhelming choices.
Yeah.
that's a good point.
Right?
It's kind of
It's like a
What
wine
an
rack.
analogy.
It's like a wine rack. It's an overwhelming
It's way better at keeping you on maximizing watch time, right? 'Cause
Yeah.
Well, I mean, that's what it's
ultimately
meant
Netflix is based on a model
That's what it's meant for.
that
Yeah.
was TV
Your
based.
phone is too. It's
It
like,
wasn't
oh, you haven't been paying
based
attention.
on a
to
model
me.
of wasn't based on this model of oh, we're gonna have a light box in everyone's pocket and we're gonna try to let them glued to this thing at maximum amount of times of all time. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
But that's YouTube model.
Yeah, that's what I
Where
mean.
They just want you to be hooked because there's no ads. There's no ads on Netflix, right? It's just like subscription.
Exactly,
If you-
yeah.
if you don't
So
use it.
what do you think that does to attention span?
Oh, dude,
Yeah,
everyone's
it's
10
poor.
times fried, bro. Everyone's
Yeah.
10 times my attention span's
I mean, even
As a person who teaches yoga, and I'm the one who's like, you can't have a phone in here, I get so much what the fuck? And they're like, I'm like, no, honestly, yoga's an internal experience. Let's
Yeah,
take this
yeah.
external,
So,
distraction
wait,
out of the
wait,
fucking
wait,
way.
I'm
Put it in
amazed
your
people
locker.
even question that, really.
No, yeah, they're like,
Why
why?
are you
Like, my
coming-
walker's
why
all
else
the
are
way
you coming to
downstairs.
yoga?
I'm like,
So-
okay,
so-
cool,
so
I'll
wait,
walk
wait.
downstairs,
Yeah.
put it in your locker, and then come back up.
Fuck,
So wait.
dedicated hardcore.
Expound on that. Expound on that point.
On what point?
So
The
you-
fact that people cannot get away from their phones. Expound on that. From your experience, what have you realized what happens?
No, we're a species who's conditioned to be distracted.
But expound on what happens when you ask people to get away from their phones.
There's an initial bounce back for sure from a few people. Most people are just like, oh, okay, no problem.
Yeah.
They will try to bring it in initially, but there's not a lot of bounce back. But from a few people, there are.
Yeah.
But then you get to the end of a class that's done with no phones in it, and I'm like, so how good did that feel? And people are just like, oh.
That felt yeah.
So you actually tell them not to bring
Yeah.
the phone
Yeah.
into the yoga. I've never had that. It's actually pretty
But
awesome.
I never saw you
Yeah,
saying
it's
that.
pretty good.
I don't do it at Equinox.
Oh, okay.
So-
I
yeah.
don't do it at Equinox. Equinox is a hard place to do it in.
Yeah.
Like Equinox is hard
But
for people
Michael
to like
does
me
that.
already because the Equinox clientele, again, you might have to bleep out the places.
Don't say that you don't want to cancel for it. That's all I'm gonna say. Don't say that you want to cancel for it. It's live. Don't do that. Treat it like it's live. Yeah.
Edit.
No, treat it like it's live, bro. Treat it like it's live.
Edit. Yeah, but-
Anyway, this
Keep-
place
keep-
that I work for,
Yeah, keep saying.
the clientele tends to be like pretty close-minded.
You can say that. You can say that on air.
Pretty
That's fine. You
close-minded,
can say that on air.
and
Would you say that it's like more?
business-minded too.
Would you say that?
Business-minded too, especially that location.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Especially that
Where is this?
location.
It happens to be in the heart of darkness in Toronto.
The Heart of Darkness, the
What are
financial
you talking
district.
about?
Like right next to the black building.
What are you talking
Would you just say like the clientele? They're just kind of like older working professionals who have money and they're kind of
No,
like.
I would say that.
not,
I would
no.
say that about Yorkville. For
Okay,
sure.
okay. But they're like
Sure.
Yeah. Okay.
But downtown, no, it's younger.
Actually, so they're younger people, but they're kind of like stuck up. They're uptight. They're not willing to
No,
like.
they're not stuck up uptight. No, I wouldn't say that. They're just very attached to a phone. I think the entire
that's
entire
normal.
fucking species is
But-
attached to a
but-
phone
no,
at this
but-
point.
no.
Even your grandparents
No, no,
are
no,
attached to a
no.
phone.
Yes.
At this point.
Yes,
but like
Yeah.
Andrew, but like
Yeah, like
No.
I have grandparents who aren't, and I have parents who aren't. My mom just got a cell phone.
Sorry,
But like, everyone is attached to it,
but if,
and
from my
there's-
experience,
go ahead.
From my experience though, is if you're not, you're fucked. If your VP messages you and you don't answer in 2 seconds,
Well,
you're
that's
fucked.
because you're working in an environment where they don't actually classify your off time as off time.
They don't care about you. Period. First of all, that's
Well,
the thing.
I guess it's a choice to work in that environment
Yeah.
now. Maybe to
It's
some extent it's also
common,
not.
pretty common to a certain
It's pretty
extent.
common, yes,
Yeah.
I would agree. I would agree, but
It's pretty
like,
common, now, to be honest.
I've worked in a lot of environments that don't consider me as a real human being.
That's
no,
so
I feel like
degrading, bro.
most
mad
environments.
degrading.
Yeah.
We've
So
been
degrading, bro.
conditioned to be cogs and like take your power back is all I can say.
Just like Uber
Like,
culture.
instead of being like, hey, okay, I see that you messaged me, just like let it go for a little while and be like, what's up? Not sorry I was doing this. Don't apologize for something that's not wrong. Just
No, it's true. It also context matters.
got this, I can do this now, or like acknowledging that I got this, doing this at a moment, and you don't even have to explain what it is. Busy at the moment, we'll do later.
Very so
Nice.
quiet.
Healthy boundaries.
Yeah,
Listening.
but for
Yeah.
for a lot of people in the city, like I sort of understand the fact that it's like it's a competition. It's like actually specifically Toronto is a competition. If you work here in the
Toronto's a
city,
hustle.
yeah, you're in a
Toronto's a
competition.
hustle, but like competition is generally built up in your own mind.
No, like I'm not.
I like that. That's some wellness shit, right? That's true. That really is.
Competition
It's-
is
Yeah,
generally
yeah.
built
That-
up
that-
in
that's a
your own-
statement.
Whether it's like competition.
It's also it's not
Competition with other people, if that's how you're seeing it, or whether it's competition with
Yeah,
yourself constantly, like
that's a lens.
that's
and-
maybe like a personal
Yeah,
issue.
that's
It
a
doesn't
lens.
have to be.
That's a lens and
It doesn't have to be. Has anybody read
Osho?
what's it called?
Eckhart Tolle?
No, it's not Eckhart
Eckhart
Tolle.
Tolle Osho?
No, it's called
I've read some Osho.
Man
Osho.
search for meaning.
Man search for meaning.
I can't remember what it's called now. It's an orange book cover. Anyway, it's
the art of war.
no.
My fucking son's doing
Subtle art of not giving
I call
up.
the art of happiness.
No, the
but
subtle
it's
art of
about,
not giving
like,
up.
Secret art of not giving.
No, although Mark Manson is
Mark
great.
Manson's
Mark Manson is great. Also, like Big Rope, that's a great one too. Harvey, calm down.
The
But
subtle
no,
art.
it like
It's
centers around the
subtle
fact
art
that
of not
like
giving.
we're always
So
trying
not
to
giving
reach
a
for
fuck. Subtle art.
success
Yeah,
and
Mark
gain
Manson.
happiness, and we actually
What
need
happened
to
to
just reach for
Stop.
happiness
Harvey,
and
start
work.
barking, man. Harvey.
Makes sense?
Harvey, start barking.
Yeah,
It's like
to
an
some
orbit around two different things.
Right,
You're just
yeah.
switching
This
which
dog is
one you're
very
orbiting
hyper.
around.
It's very hyper. This is the most
Yes.
hyper. I think it's the most hyper dog I've ever seen in my life.
No way.
No way. There's hyper dogs than that.
This dog,
No,
out of
hyper,
10,
yeah.
out of 10, I would give this dog maybe 8 out of 10 hyper.
Really?
Dude, it's like it's
Yeah, some
I've seen
hype.
other dogs that come in and just lay down on the floor and just relax and that's
Yeah.
it.
No, yeah.
This dog is like investigating everything. It's very
No.
maybe my place is very overstimulating. There's a lot of trippy lights and shit in here, but this dog is very.
Oh, he's
very
not seeing
inquisitive.
lights. He's like,
Yeah,
everything
yeah.
is gray.
Yeah, they're very, very.
Excuse me.
He's like, are you not
Inquisitive.
gonna share with me?
Excuse me. Can you get down?
Yeah. See, that's one
Alright.
thing I've been debating about.
Good job.
whether I should go into a more like salary focused job than a freelance job, which is what I currently work. I think I know that
freelance is a fucking hustle and that's hard.
It is a hustle.
Yeah, I know, but one thing I know I like about it is that situation doesn't happen. Like nobody can text me and I'm like, oh, I have to text back immediately.
Yeah.
And I like having boundaries.
But
I know
that shouldn't exist in a corporate environment either.
Well, it shouldn't.
It shouldn't. Okay, like no, the biggest thing with the corporate environment.
But no, you need.
It's not
do we not actually need to start pushing back?
It's not just. It's not just.
I believe so.
It's not just that.
Yeah.
I'm a contractor too, so I know.
It's more the.
People are on a salaried employment. You need to start pushing back and be like, this is a healthy boundary for me to ask for. And if they take that to HR, if they take that to HR and they're like, this person asked for a healthy boundary, HR's not going to be like, we should fire them.
Yeah.
Maybe, I don't know.
The biggest difference with self-employment is you can fire your clients. Like if they say something fucked up, you can just fire. Be like, honestly, I don't know. You can fire your clients. I have, and I will continue to do so. Yeah, it doesn't work out, or like your client's a scumbag or this or that. Or they just do something that's like irreparable.
Pays the bills.
You know, it's irreparable, and then if you're, you know,
that exists in.
I would say
contractors.
Yeah. You don't let the clients get out.
I would say part of it though is also like the control on my time, right? Like if somebody wants me to work more, I can always demand more money.
Yes.
And there's a natural limit on how much I'm working. But with salary, it feels like I'm like committing myself to working like infinite hours.
No, not necessarily. No, not necessarily.
Like,
no. Depends on the job.
It feels like
with salary, I'm like, you pay me for this many hours, and after that, I'm done.
Yeah, that would be my attitude. But it feels like a lot of like most people I talk to who work salary jobs feel like they don't have that relationship. It feels like if their boss calls them, they have to answer. It feels like that's their experience at least.
I know you. I know what you mean. It depends really heavily on the company. Some companies, some companies are not like that. Good companies aren't. If you're at a startup or anything where it's really a demanding job where you're trying to make impact, it's don't work at that type of company if you don't want to like commit your level.
Exactly. That's why I couldn't work in research anymore because like I wasn't that invested in the research that they were doing for me to like give up everything else.
So
not to work half the time and make the same.
I will give you a very
to do something I love.
I will give you a very funny, unique relationship that happens, right? So, as a black guy that works in tech, I generally always get underpaid, right?
Okay,
always.
As a woman, I do too.
Yeah. So what happens because they don't believe my efficacy, right? Then what happens is I start closing like crazy accounts. So then, is essentially what happens at the workplace is that like you can either choose. Because I'm
sorry. It's like zero snacks.
I got chocolate. I got gum.
So at a certain point, what happens?
Hey there, buddy. No gum for you. Sorry.
Yeah, that's not good.
Sorry, no gum for you.
Yeah. So at a certain point, what happens to the workplace basically is that they realize that like they have hired a highly efficacious employee at a very low salary.
Yeah, you like that thumb? Yeah, you like that thumb?
That's racist.
What do you like about that thumb?
Yeah.
So then I realized at that point I have all the power here.
Right, in the sense that you're high value to them because you're making them a lot of profit.
Yeah. And like you can't tell me to do whatever.
Right. Yeah. No, that can happen too. If you're like necessary to them, you can kind of push back.
Exactly.
A little bit, right. But it sounds like you don't totally feel that way because if you push back on the VP texting you thing a little bit.
No, that's where I'm at right now.
Right
now. So right now at my workplace, I stiff armed them to pay me a 5-figure paycheck.
Right.
They had to. I forced them to pay me 5 figures because I was like, yo, don't fuck with me. I will fucking ruin you.
5 figures.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So I basically this is what I'm realizing. In terms of businesses, you choose what you want from them. They like literally, if you want to stiff arm them, you can stiff arm them. Depends your value to them.
Yeah.
Do you understand? If you are of enough value to a firm, and you tell them, I'm not fucking around, bro. You pay me this or I'm leaving. I don't fucking care. Period. Go fuck yourself. I'll sue you. They'll pay you.
It's all life is all about leverage, man. It's all about leverage and like playing for position.
It's power.
If you're if you're in a powerful position and you have max leverage, you can really fuck with people, bro.
Exactly.
Anytime, like what's that that TV show Billions where he punches this guy in the face? He's like, I'm gonna sue for $2 million. He's like, worth it. He's like, worth it, bro. I'm gonna some G shit like Bobby Axelrod. That was some G shit right there. But that's what it's like to be a fucking billionaire.
If you're a woman that can command revenue and capital, you're in the best position possible. Sorry. You're in the best position possible. You know what I'm trying to say? That's what I'm trying to say. In terms of commerce right now, you get to dictate what you want. You can either work for somebody that's going to tell you where your salary is, or you can say, oh shit, fuck, this person said my marketing is worth this much because I worked my ass off and they told me this, and fuck you because they said this. Yeah, I feel like right now is the best time to actually be very like.
Yo! I saw this video on TikTok recently where this girl was talking. Action! Here we go. Keep going. We're not stopping out here. We're running until we're all running out of gas.
Seems pretty low.
The what?
Like the angle seems pretty low.
I'll raise the camera up. It's all good.
It's a snack cam. Really, this is a cooking show.
Yo, have you guys? Actually, no, this is actually fine. Yo, have you guys seen that girl on Instagram who like dunks her face in bread?
No.
What are you talking about?
Okay, so she shows up on camera. She's been doing this for 4 years now. She does a regular job. They actually interviewed her.
Society right now.
It was very entertaining.
Why is this a person?
Why? Because it's entertaining. It's weird. It's almost like performance art.
Wait.
Yeah.
I suppose.
Yeah.
There was a time we went out of the house to see performance art.
So I have
Now that'll come to you on your phone.
There was a time. There was a time.
Embrace your phone.
Yeah.
There was a time.
I don't even know
She
what my phone is
doesn't perform in public. She's very introverted. She just does it from home every night. She gets dressed up for her date with the bread. She has different types of bread every day, and then she just like puts the bread on the table.
Dating the bread?
No, she does it like every time she does it, it's a performance. So she gets dressed up like she's having like a date with a piece of bread. It's only like 30 seconds long, and she just smashes her face into the bread and like rolls her face. And the bread's soft sometimes,
Right.
and
sometimes it's hard.
Sometimes it's harder. It's a little more crusty, and she's been doing this shit for like I think 6, 7. One of my friends actually sent this girl to me, like this is gonna be your future girlfriend. Yeah, this girl's weird as fuck.
Oh my
And
god.
I watched the video and I'm like, would I date a girl whose hobby was like smashing your face
smash.
into bread every like week?
No.
Probably.
Was this enough views to make money?
Yes.
Or was,
yes.
okay.
Yeah. She has a Patreon. She makes money off doing it.
Alright.
It's a performance art. It's weird. It's performance. It's bizarre. You know, but that was one channel I was following. I still follow her now, and it's the different breads that she. What's crazy about the different types of bread she gets? She's very good at sourcing bread.
Yeah.
How much does she make?
How much does she make off? She has a full time. It's not her full time job. She has a full time. No, she has a full time job.
Well, depends how much she makes.
No, I would like that's not how much money she makes. I like her commitment to the concept and her commitment to this like thing she
she's
makes.
just pulling in the bread. The bread.
Literally pulling in the bread.
Literally pulling in bread. I like that.
She could quit her full-time job as long as she pulled in the bread dollars.
Bring up the bread.
You'd have to. Your only variety is changing the bread. So you'd have to become an expert.
She changed her outfits too.
Right. It's a fashion and bread channel.
She does. It's like a date with the bread. So she changes her style every video, and the bread.
Does the setting change?
Does she dress up the same as the bread? Like when it's French bread, is she wearing like a beret?
I think she does. I think that would make sense. That would make sense. You're inspired by the bread. You said like I'm smashing a baguette today. I gotta put my French beret on and my navy
Smashing
stripe.
a baguette, that would actually like hurt.
It would hurt.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's very soft. She does cheesecake and shit too. Sometimes she does like softer. More like delicate. Pieces of bread.
She's expanding into other mediums.
Well, the question is, I think like, did you eat the bread?
I mean,
after?
there's only
It's
so
fucking
many
food.
breads, so I guess I understand.
Yeah,
I think she's. You'd be surprised how many different types of loaves of bread or like baked goods sometimes. Not cake, but like baked things you can smash your face into.
Yeah, croissant.
I think she's definitely done croissants before.
Yeah, did she wear a beret for that one too? She should have.
Yeah, I think she goes to bakeries, and the bakeries actually also rotate the stock. So just with the bakery being his bread experts, Odie's fucking dying. It's a ridiculous conversation. With the people at the bakery rotating like the types of breads that they're baking, you can probably get a decent variety. She lives in New York too, so there's probably a lot of bakeries there, and then every week's But that's such a good example of the kind of interesting things you can find on social media, on the internet. People doing that's not even that crazy. I saw this one installation art thing that was a giant machine in Belgium where they had a gigantic digestive vat that you put food on an assembly line, and it kind of mechanically goes through these like vats and tanks of like acid, and it comes out as like shit, and then you can buy the shit. Isn't that G? And the shit's 20 euros. Isn't that the most G shit?
Process
That's
is very
genius.
interesting, but who's buying the shit?
I would buy the shit.
Yeah.
I would in a bag. First of all, it's made by a machine, so this looks like a fucking form into a turd.
That's really interesting.
Come on.
Conceptually, that's amazing, bro.
That is pretty
No,
Conceptually, that's dope as fuck.
no,
Genius.
come on, man.
That's
What the
genius
fuck
as fuck.
is-
Some guy put like probably a year and a half worth of research into like mechanical engineering this like human digestive tract, and it was on the art gallery room. They did it in because they exhibited it.
Why
for
didn't you
2
just
years.
get a girlfriend? What the fuck is wrong with it?
Yeah, this guy probably should get
Mechanically
mechanically engineer a
What kind
human
of crazy shit
digestive
is that?
tract.
You're trying to say
It's yo okay
That's
yo.
fucking
Okay, I
insane.
know another one. Okay, dude. So this back club I went to, man, they had this vat full of this golden amber liquid with 2 giant lights on the side, and I'm like, what was it? They collected urine from like 200 guys, and then preserved it inside this glass pot with the lights on it, and that was one of the installation art pieces in the actual
my
nightclub. And I'm like,
God.
that's so creative.
Wow.
That's dirty as fuck. And I'm
Why
like,
200?
Because that's how much it took. Because
no.
it was like
I don't wanna
it was
know.
probably
I
like
don't-
maybe like a 400-gallon tank. It was enormous. It was like the size of this
Oh my
TV,
God.
golden amber. I'm like, is that artsy? Is that postmodern?
I know. I feel the same way, Glenn. I know. It's like,
Wow.
I'm sorry.
Yeah,
He
it's
says
pretty
a
dope.
crazy shit about some urine. I'm sorry, bro. I'm sorry.
Is that art? You gotta start redefining. I went to the one museum where they had is the artist named Marcel Duchamp, the guy who made the urinal. I put it in the art gallery. So
1917, yeah.
yeah, so I saw the. Is that old? No, is it 1917? It's 100 years old. It's a urinal.
Yeah.
It's 100 years. Oh my god. Anyways, yeah. So I saw it in the box. I'm like that's the urinal. I was like, that's the urinal.
When
That's
did they come out with urinals?
I don't know.
Because it might have been kind of like signing a Tesla today. You know what I mean?
Oh, I
That would
don't
that
know.
would put a whole different context on what I was.
It would. I have no idea. Porcelain urinal. No.
Yeah. Well, you know, I understand the Tesla on the moon, but yeah. So I saw that urinal, and then like this little kid was like looking at it, and I looked at him and I said, yeah, this piece is really important because this guy redefined what could be art. This guy literally took a urinal, put it in a urinal, and then I said that's why this is historically. And the kid looked at me like I was fucking crazy. He was like, "Are you crazy, bro? This is the fucking urinal in the art museum." That's the most pretentious
How old
thing
was
I've
this
ever-
kid?
He was like 8.
There,
I guess 8. This kid was like, "This is some bullshit ass art."
There's some installation in the Art Basel recently.
Did you go?
No, I didn't go. Where some guy just like taped a banana to a wall.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, I saw that one. Yeah. That
And
was
some
cool.
guy was like, "Fuck this," and he ate the banana.
Yeah.
I feel like that is that situation. Like,
That's genius. Because it becomes like an interactive performance art. Like I fucking ruined your art, and that's part of the piece. It completed it. Well, it's like the Banksy piece where it shredded itself.
yeah.
That was so
Yeah.
genius. That was on. You know they said like
I feel
this.
like that backfired a little bit. I feel like that just made it more valuable.
No, exactly. That's why he was so fucking genius. That's why he's the top genius. No. Yeah,
Banksy did that. I'm sure he did that too.
No, he did that on purpose.
Purposely.
Like,
No,
definitely
do
did.
you know what the Guardian said about him? The Guardian says that Banksy's piece, where he shredded his own piece on auction at Sotheby's, right about the auction, they said it was so genius it made the other artists there look like rank amateurs.
Yeah, there you
That's
go.
what the Guardian wrote. I was
There you
like,
go.
damn. But they're right.
Yeah,
I was
I
like,
think
who else would do that, bro? The conceptually, like, yeah,
Great idea.
he's G as fuck. I love him. Yeah. No, I want to do. You know. Street art's fucking crazy.
Alec Monopoly.
Sorry.
Alec Monopoly.
Yeah, no, this guy. Is he new right now?
He
new?
is.
Is he new right now? I've heard about this guy.
Alec Monopoly is
Yes.
really famous.
Yes, that's right.
Yeah, he's like one of the top street art performers. Like
What's he doing right now?
he does like Monopoly shit, right? Like
Oh.
you don't know?
No.
Oh no, it's just like
The
it's
Monopoly guy.
Is it the one? Is it does it with the paintings where he has like the
The Monopoly
man
guy.
with the-
Yes.
Oh no,
yeah,
yes, I've
he's
seen this
famous
guy,
for
yeah.
that.
Oh,
I've seen this guy. Yeah.
And it's really expensive. Like he starts from like 100,000
Oh, yeah, that's
minimum,
crazy.
just a small one.
The art industry is actually like so fucked if you think about it. I feel like it's like designed for like Russian oligarchs to launder money.
Yeah.
How can we take like a small object and like make it worth like $50 million so I can launder my net worth into it and transport it around the world tax free?
Yeah.
It's the plot of like Tenet. This dog's loving it right
But
now.
those are only fewer pieces.
You guys want to get back into our collapsology topic?
If you want. I mean, only if people want to.
Let's get back to the club.
Well, the thing is,
Yeah.
here's what I feel about it. Like,
Yeah.
at the end of the day, there's only really two things that can happen.
Yeah.
Either the production will move to another place, right?
Yeah.
Or that people
No,
will
watch the
work
glasses on the carapace there. Precipice on there.
right? And like at the end of the day, that's all that can happen.
What
Right?
about like a quality of life shift? Like people will work later, but let's say they're working later for like really shitty. Like humans are like just we're back at like 1920s type factory conditions, like really shitty. You know?
I don't think
Oh,
That's-
careful! Don't pull him too hard.
that's likely to. I mean,
Just
a quality of life shift down would be fine. I don't think the quality of work will happen. Like I don't see why we would lose technology. Right?
Yeah, like, you'll never hit 1920s level was like goddamn steam power. Like that was like well, no, I mean I'm not stressing 1920s, but
He's a unit though.
there's
I'm trying to give another example of
We
this.
take chocolate.
Wait,
I'm
chocolate?
gonna feed him chocolate.
No,
Just like,
no,
don't feed the dog chocolate.
It is standing there, you're
Definitely don't
like-
do
I was
that.
like, holy shit, yo.
No,
It's
absolutely.
like, oh my god, Angela.
Absolutely not.
Hey, buddy. Can you ask me?
Oh, you're a good guy. You're a good guy. I love you.
But you see what I'm saying? Like at the end of the day, there's only really two options, right? Like
That's
what else could happen?
They're talking about bringing like U.S. like chip manufacturing back to the U.S. and they're talking about how like the main argument against that was that like American citizens are not going to want to work like Foxconn level like.
No, it would be in an automated way. So
in the future, yes, but they're saying like they're saying that right now if we're going to bring chip manufacturing back to the U.S. like they're saying that like there's no American citizen who's going to want to get in like the hazmat suit.
Well, if you're
with
making
bags.
you're making new factories though, so the new factories would be more automated.
Even if it's automated,
in the future, yeah.
it's less jobs.
Yeah, it says jobs.
Yeah.
No, but he's talking about total production level at the end of the day. Like he's talking about
Yeah,
Right.
like, can we produce it?
can we actually produce it, right? Yeah.
That's actually another thing we think about the future. Like with all the problems, like like there's this one guy I'm following right now. He's betting really hard on fusion power. He's just like fusion power will solve everything, bro. We don't need solar power. We don't need wind. We don't need fucking fusion power will fix everything. Fusion power quantum computing will fix everything. We'll desalinate the ocean, bro. We'll do everything, bro.
He's optimist.
But,
It's super optimistic, bro. I'm like,
The thing is, my understanding is fusion power is probably going to be a little bit too late for global warming.
Yes!
It'll
That's
probably
what I would
happen.
take that.
Yes, man.
Like it
I
seems
think
like
we
it
should
seems
all
like they're
agree
on.
that we're all too late for global.
It seems like it's on track to like for success, right? Like it seems like we will eventually.
I don't
get
know
it.
about
But, well, there's
I'm less
You can,
optimistic.
like,
personally.
Yeah,
try
what
to
makes you say
reverse
that?
it, but,
So,
like,
I mean, I don't know much about technology, but from what I've read, yeah, I mean, the amount of energy going into it actually exceeds the amount coming out. If you actually look at the fusion
my
power, the recent
understanding-
fusion experiment, like proof of concept, it's actually not that effective.
My understanding is that the big project they're making in France, ITER, right?
Oh,
is-
I don't even know about that. So
Yeah,
you
so-
probably read more.
You
than
know,
me.
The idea is
It was very
we can do the reaction on a small scale, but we have to scale it up.
Okay, yeah.
In order to, and
just goes a
the
little-
theory is that we have enough of we know enough about the reaction that if we scale up the mathematics of it, it
But he's
should
just doing it on his
work
own.
based on the
Oh, okay.
experience we've already done.
There's-
so-
all I'm
Because
getting this
to
from
you,
is
he
a
might
physicist
jump up
I
and
trust on
just be
Twitter
like,
who was
hey,
critical of
Yeah.
fusion.
Oh, you mean the more recent?
Like, okay.
Yeah, that one is a little bit. You should be more critical of that.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Because that one, they only counted the lasers once they went into the machine.
Exactly.
Actually,
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
gonna
But
be
he actually
dog
did the
here.
calculations, leading
Yeah,
calculations.
it's something. No, the Tomahawk style reactor is much more promising.
Okay.
But it's a slower
I have no idea.
roll.
Okay.
Theoretically, the idea I think is in about 2025, which is pretty soon.
That's mad soon, bro. It's like
Yeah,
that's 2 years.
We should have the
Blinking
with the
between
first
Christmases.
reaction. The building they're designing in France should produce
Wow.
more energy.
Well,
than
yeah, crossing my fingers.
but the problem is. Then that happens, and then you actually have to make one that's big enough to be a power plant,
Yeah.
and that's not going to happen until apparently 2035. And
Alright.
then once you do that, everyone has to make them to actually produce energy for the rest, because that's like a demo to show, hey, we can make a power
Oh, okay. I
plant.
see what you're saying.
You know what I mean?
Interesting.
And so that's not going to happen until 2035,
Alright.
and then after
No,
that,
no,
you actually have to build like millions of these all
Alright.
over the world. Not millions, but
But
like
sure, yeah.
thousands all over the world.
Scale it.
So like the scaling is going to be like post 2100 kind of thing.
Oh, wow.
So
God.
it's a little bit too late. You know what I'm saying? Like.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's way too late. We need to do it now.
Yo, do you guys?
Like, we need to do it yesterday.
Like
to be
it seems like
fair.
it seems like there's like a framework that could work.
Yeah.
Assuming the 2025 experiment goes well.
No, that's
But-
just like
but
that's like
it's just the timeline doesn't work,
Everybody
right?
be calm.
Yeah.
We're fine.
Dude, who's
We're
still?
working
Oh, this must be Evie. Anyways, yo, do you guys know that the Hadron Collider in Geneva takes up 30% of Geneva's entire power supply?
Really?
Do you know how much power? Do you know how much power the Avatar rendering Avatar took up? How much power fucking rendering the entire Avatar?
No, how
Avatar?
much?
As much as the Hadron Collider.
That's absurd.
Isn't that fucking dope? That's how much money they did to spend on that mother just to fucking render those motherfucking graphics.
That's ridiculous.
Think of all those
God,
graphics cards just pushing pixels.
Dude, no, dude, and he said, you know, yes, and he says the Weta Digital Avatar render farm just inside New Zealand was 9,000 supercomputers. It's fucking crazy. And then when they ran out of power, they just started like shipping the whole thing over like Amazon AWS. Oh my God, Jesus Christ!
Sightline.
This is
That's
Evie
wild.
now.
That's wild.
But Evie will come stir the conversation. He's a serious shit talker. He's a
Definitely
professional
glad
shit
he came
talker,
back.
bro.
Yeah, I know. Like,
Talk-
we're gonna shit around.
Evie's got filthy stories, bro. Yo, so we were talking. I'll say this. I'll get myself on camera. Listen. Okay, so I was doing research today into the guys who run Kit Kat in Berlin and these like sex clubs and strip clubs and everything like that. Okay, so I have this theory in business where you're paid to do something that's hard, right?
Sorry?
I have this theory in business in general where you're paid to do something that other people don't want to do. So you're not. If you're a security guard, you're not paid to sit around. You're paid to enforce violence if people start breaking your place. So when it comes to a sex club, you're not paid to like hold court for like a sex club. What you're paid for in a sex club is to stop people from getting raped and shit like that. Sexually assaulted is crazy, bro. I was watching the interview.
Enforced violence.
So like if you're gonna have like a sex club and run that type of stuff, I was watching the interview and they're saying the craziest job they have in running those parties is to like make sure no one gets hurt because it happens like they say that's the cost of doing business. Now, like every now and then there's some crazy that's gonna happen in your club. And and that's really what they're not being paid to do. That's the cost of running. Because
I imagine you also have to have like, the liability insurance must be out of this world.
Yeah,
right.
That's super dangerous.
I blame my
like, you know, at first those people were illegal because they seem too hard to control.
If I give him one, is he gonna ruin him?
No, it'll be fine.
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like that artificial onion stuff is really fine. Like, generally dogs aren't supposed to have like onions and garlic and like peppers and nightshades. I feel like.
Yeah, like chocolate.
But like chocolate's not a nightshade, but it's definitely a thing that dogs should not have.
My mom said she used to give her dog chocolate all the time and it was fine.
Oh god.
Well,
I think it's like it depends on the dog kind of thing.
I would think that it depends on the size of the dog and like the breed of the dog. Like these ones have notoriously like bad stomach.
Bad stomach, eh?
Yeah. Although like I don't know if he's eating chocolate. He's definitely drank poison. Someone was tossing antifreeze into the dog bowls on the east side.
Yo, that's crazy.
And he drank from one of the.
Oh no! What happened?
He got the shits like nobody's business. You didn't want to.
Thank God
you didn't want to stand behind him because he was like a water gun.
Thank God he didn't.
But
die.
like he was, thank God he's a young, healthy dog and didn't die. But like he was not well for a few days. He was scared to go to the bathroom.
How you doing, man? Okay. Camera's on.
Yeah.
We're just talking about like.
Shit ready?
No, how's it going, man?
I love your dog.
Oh, we got a dog here today.
Yeah, it's great.
I think that's the first pet we've had in my place ever.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
First dog, and well, I haven't been here that long.
Are you allowed to have pets in this building?
Yeah, you can. Yeah, you can't have.
I don't mean like as a visitor. I mean like,
there's some people have dogs.
Like an apartment when they're like you can't have
Hey, how's
pets,
it
you
going?
bring your pet in and you eventually ask for
You want like a beer or water, you don't want
yeah,
it.
yeah.
This is not like a can I bring my pet in here situation. It's you bring them in.
I tried this bottle of.
If your pet is a good pet, it's not
It's Zumi, but they made a
Yeah, part of that rule might be
all they
if
did is
people have like
you say that.
they're causing problems because they want to have
So
excuse
many
to
people.
kick them away.
Yeah, are you open your mouth, bud? So many people have like rescues too at this point, which are like they're hard to manage. I think it's a beautiful thing to be able to do it if you have the time and the resources and whatever. I think it's a beautiful thing to do, but like, I needed a dog where I could be like, I'm gonna just raise you healthy. I hope.
You ready?
Oh, here. Hey, you can have my. I'm gonna eat a salad.
It's all good. Off cam.
I don't want to ruin you.
On cam, off cam.
Don't tell me that.
He's a beautiful dog.
He is.
Our
He's
camera
so
break, turn the
soft.
shit off.